Okay, in this video, I'm going to start off with asking a question. How many of us who've been around people, say, who are toxic people or somebody in our life that is one of those to say, say narcissistic type, I'm not diagnosing anybody, but just the behaviors of this are kind of abusive. And like you need to go to see the doctor or the dentist or something like that. And they're the cheap kind. They want to keep all their money. But they don't put that all together. What they say is, oh, you don't really need to see the doctor. Doctors aren't any good anyway, or dentists, or whatever. And, they'll talk you out of going, even though all you need to do is this, like they know what you need to do. And that you don't really need to see it, or you see a doctor and the doctor says it's this and that you need to do this, or, the dentist or whatever. And they say, oh, no. That's a quack. They're just trying to get more money out of you. And yes, this kind of thing does happen, but every time, oh, they really don't know. No, you don't have that problem. You just need to, and then they go on. How many of us have seen this? Probably, maybe more. If you've been a victim of narcissistic abuse or any kind of abuse, really, and that kind of person, you've probably seen it several times. Have you? Okay. Now here's more. Okay, I think for some people, they learn that as a bad behavior to always discredit doctors, dentists, anybody along that line. Is what some call a narcissistic flea or fleas. The bad behaviors you pick up from the narcissistic or the toxic people or the abusive people, whatever it is in your life. Like say you come from a dysfunctional family, a narcissistic family, something along that line, and you pick up bad behaviors. You're raised thinking they're right. And some people have picked those up to think that they, all dentists are this way, all doctors are this way, any kind of healthcare professional is this, they're just after your money. And when it's not true. First of all, they don't know all of them, and not everybody in any field would be one way. Sure, you got some bad apples in some things, but not all of them. Okay, and then some of them try to justify it by saying, well, when somebody confronts them and say, what is this all or nothing thinking? All or nothing, they're all bad. Because they'll say, well, I had this bad experience. Well, just because you had one bad experience, that makes all of them bad? Well, yeah, but my friend did too, and my, other friends. So all of you've seen all of those doctors, all the doctors in the world, and they're all that way. You see what I'm saying? But some people will believe it because they've heard this or that. They're not taking into consideration these are people who might just want to complain about one doctor they've seen, and that doctor was bad. There are other doctors out there that are good. Or dentists, or like I said, whatever kind of healthcare professional it is. But they had learned that. Some of them are that. Some of them are narcissistic people who will say that. And they try to normalize it. Normalize, called normalization of narcissism. And they make it the norm, that it's the norm to complain about professionals. It's the norm to say they don't know anything that you know better. How do you know better? And some will say, well, it's my body. I know my body better than they. They're going to justify this narcissistic behavior. And a narcissistic type person, or people, from what I understand, people with actually have been diagnosed with it, some of them will think that they are better than the professionals, and they know better than the professionals, although they have never taken a class in that. They've never earned their degree or certification, whatever it is. But they know more because they are what? Narcissist or narcissistic. See what I'm saying? Okay. But picking up that, that bad behavior from the people, that type person, some people just don't want to look past it. They've heard so many stories from so many other people. But like I said, it's that all or nothing thinking, really. Do you know all? Do you have statistics other than just what you personally have observed? Or people have observed. Like some people say, oh, and then some people go down this line, they'll say things like, well, because I've experienced it, I know better. Well, other people have experienced, like, do you think a dentist has never had a toothache? You know, do you think a doctor has never been, had the flu? Do you think that a counselor has never been a victim of narcissistic abuse? Come on. Okay, and that's where a lot of people, especially when it comes to the topic of narcissistic abuse, people believe that they know better than the counselors. All these counselors, it's that all or nothing thing, thinking they know better than all of them because they've experienced it. And I do videos on this quite often these days because I see it more and more often. First off, do you have the degree? Are you at that standing where you can actually, you have what it takes, to actually judge a counselor? Do you? Are you accredited, or not accredited, but do you have the credentials to judge them, or it's just your opinion? But sometimes, depending on where you live, stating that claim that all counselors, you're attacking all counselors, verbally attacking all of them, and saying that they're all something, like they're all narcissists. I've heard that. Oh my goodness, unbelievable. Now think about what you're saying, and think about what are the rules and the laws against saying something like that. Yeah, there are laws. You slander somebody, you defamation of character, libel, whatever it is, you're saying that you know them all too. But these are the bad behaviors, yes, we pick up from people who have not tried to normalize it, some of them, to normalize this kind of narcissism or whatever it is. So everybody agrees with them and thinks they're so smart, but they're not. They do not know better than the doctor, than the dentist, than any kind of healthcare professional. Okay? They don't. But they're going to tell you, you don't need to see that doctor, and there's nothing wrong with you. That doctor just wants your money. Yeah. No.